Your users that you're designing for aren't just the people like you. There are a lot of different kinds of users in this world that you should probably be building for, or make the product you're building for accessible to all of that audience. Right now, over 1 billion people in the world live with a disability, and designing with keeping them in mind is no longer choice. Today, we're talking about accessibility, what it is, why it belongs in every design decision you make, and the tools you can use to start practicing it today. Accessibility in design means that building products everybody can use, regardless of ability. For example, for people with visual impairments, hearing loss, motor limitations, and cognitive differences, etc. It's not a feature you build on at the end, but the design decision you make from the very beginning. There's a global center for accessibility called WCAG, Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, and it's organized around 4 principles, and its acronym is POUR: Perceivable, Operable, Understandable, and Robust. Perceivable meaning every user must be able to sense the content, for example, all text for images, captions for videos, and enough color contrast so someone with low vision can read your text. Operable meaning that every user must be able to use the interface. This means full keyboard operation, navigation for people who can't use a mouse, and no content that flashes no more than 3 times a second because that might cause seizures. And understandable meaning that interface must make sense. No one should be confused about what your product is asking them to do. And finally, robust, meaning that the content has to work with assistive technologies like screen readers, clean semantic code that a screen reader can interpret reliably. These 4 principles, you use them at least once in every design decision you make. And here's the thing about accessibility. In 1970s, disability activists in Berkeley poured concrete onto a street corner to create a makeshift ramp because wheelchair users had nowhere to go. The city eventually built proper curb cuts. And what they found was that 90% of non-disabled pedestrians changed course to use them too. Parents with pushchairs, cyclists, travelers with luggage. The ramp, designed for one group, has become useful for everybody else. And it applies to digital design just as directly. For example, closed captions were built for deaf users, but nearly 90% of all viewers now use them, including me. I can hear, but I still like to have captions. Voice assistants were accessibility features. Dark mode has started as a visual accessibility tool, essential for some, but useful for everyone. But here's the nuance. The reason to design for accessibility isn't just that it benefits everyone. It's that excluding people is wrong. The broader benefit is the bonus. And that also ties into something called inclusive design, which we will kind of touch upon in the future episodes. Now the tools. All free. All usable today. Wave from WebAIM puts a visual overlay on any website showing you exactly where it fails accessibility. The color contrast analyzer from TPGI checks whether your color contrasts meet WCAG contrast ratios. Axe DevTools is a browser extension that runs automated accessibility audits with clear explanations. Accessibility Insights from Microsoft gives you a guided assessment that teaches you what to look for. And the most powerful tool of all, VoiceOver, the screen reader built into every Apple product. Navigate any app using only audio. 10 minutes with VoiceOver will teach you more about accessibility than any article you will ever read. Here's what I want you to do today. Comment one accessibility issue that you have faced or a tool that you use in your design decisions. Because the first step to designing accessibility is to giving yourself permission to care about people who you're designing for. Stay tuned for day 9. See ya!